Terry J. Walker, and right here, this is my superstar, social media sidekick, Mr. Bailey Bob, and we're bringing to you a new show streaming on Mupo Entertainment called the IAM Power Hour, where everyone has a song to sing, a story to tell, and having to follow their passion to have the courage to rise and thrive. Could you be one of our next interviews as we all work together to bring love, light, unity, and connection to one another, and again, to have the courage to rise and thrive? Join me on the I Am Power Hour streaming on Mupo Entertainment. Let them watch this. We're going to work on it.
Definitely a good guy. Very sweet.
Back here on the mountain, and Mandy's getting back to her roots.
Roll, Allie. Yakety yak.
Hello and welcome to the I Am Power Hour with me, Terry J. Walker. And today we have a very special guest for you. You don't want to miss this show. She is the singer with the big brassy voice and the pipes of steel. She is also one of the newest members of the Grand Ole Opry. So this show is a fabulous show that you don't want to miss because we all have the courage to rise and thrive. And we're going to have a fantastic interview. Get to know this young lady and be able to find out just exactly what may be going on in the now and in the future with her. And if you haven't guessed it already, yes it is, my special guest today is the fabulous, the wonderful, and my dear friend, Miss Mandy Barnett. We'll be right back after this commercial break. Welcome back to the I Am Power Hour, and I am here with my very special guest. I'm so excited because I haven't gotten to see you in so many years, but I am so excited to bring to you today the fabulous Miss Mandy Barnett, one of the latest and greatest members of the Grand Ole Opry that you have just been inducted into.
Yeah, just a few months ago.
How was that?
Oh, it was, well, you know, it's strange when you get something you've wanted your entire life, when you finally achieve that goal. So I'm still just pinching myself and really on a daily basis thinking, did that really happen? Is this really true?
And it is true.
It is true.
And you've worked so hard, and you've played the Opry over 500 times, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I wasn't sure. I knew that I'd played over 400. There's several people that keep track, and so I'd asked this guy one time how many he thought I'd played, and he said, well, I don't know, but I know it's over 400. So I knew that much.
Yeah. But then they mentioned a prize for your birthday, I think.
It was.
Tell
yeah.
us about that.
Well, it was so strange. I've played the Opry many times on my birthday. I've done Always Patsy on my birthday, so it wasn't. For me, it wasn't really any different than any of those other times because, you know, I just got there like I normally do a little bit earlier, and I had some flowers in my dressing room, which is, you know, kind of the norm for them, but I didn't have a clue. I really didn't. They really got me. You know, and I thought, what a lovely gesture for Connie Smith to come out and sing Happy Birthday. I thought, well, that's so sweet. But then she came back out, read a card, talking about how I'd always seemed like family, and that I'd been there 27 years and over 500 times, and I just felt, like the cartoons where your eyes are like twirling around, and I really felt like I was gonna faint. And they took a picture of me, and I'm doing one of these numbers, and then later I saw Jamie Johnson with the same expression, so it must be an Opry thing. It's just such an overwhelming. It's overwhelming to perform on that stage, really.
Yes.
But to actually get something that you've wanted all these years, it was so surreal, but wonderful, and so wonderful that Connie Smith was the person who invited me.
And you're good friends with Connie Smith.
Yeah, I've been lucky because I moved to Nashville in 1993. A lot of my heroes were still active and alive, and it's just unbelievable all the people I've known. And Connie's no different. Jeannie Seeley's another great friend. So I'm just so lucky that I got to meet all those folks and perform with them, and people I admired and grew up listening to.
Well, and Jeannie C, one of my favorite songs growing up, Harbor Valley PTA. And I know we both can relate to that because we grew up in small towns, didn't we?
That's true. Yeah, my mom worked for the finance department, so that's all I'll say about that.
That's all we gotta say. And I'm sure that, a time or two they may come in to say, Mandy has caused a little problem around these parts. But you have been singing on stage since you were how old?
Like 5 years old.
5 years.
Yeah, I started out in the churches around, and just community stuff, funerals, the American Legion, just the fair.
And the fair.
Those were all things that it was really kind of unreal. I had a lot of venues to play early on, and so much support from everyone in town. If there was a need for a vocalist, they would always come to me. If there was something that was going to open that was special, and they were going to have a 4-star general or something, I'd go and sing the national anthem and God Bless America, and became known for that early on. When I was 7 or 8 years old, and they'd call me Little Kate Smith.
Little Kate Smith. There you go. There you go.
Little girl with a big voice, and so I started becoming known regionally.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I started going to East Tennessee and working with Archie Campbell. He had a place up there in Pigeon Forge, and Archie was the for those of you who may not know the name, if you grew up watching Hee Haw, Archie was the barber.
Yes.
He was the doctor. Played several parts. He was also in the singing the Where Are You Tonight?
Oh yes, I remember that.
Why did you leave me here all alone?
That's right. Because we searched the world over and found Mandy Barnett, didn't we? That's right. But that's very, very true, and I love every ounce of that. And I remember we watched Hee Haw every Saturday night.
Yeah.
And it was just, that was the thing to do growing up. And with you now, and are you an old soul?
I think so. I'm an only child, so I think I'm either an old soul or all these wonderful people who raised me, but basically were my friends, and a lot of times my playmates
Right.
Influenced me. But I did have cousins around me.
Right.
So I did have the best of both worlds. I got to be around the quirky grandmother that had really great taste and liked big band music.
Right.
And so just different people in my life that taught me different things. The mamaw that was from Harriman that lived out in the Homestead, she liked those primitive Baptist churches. And actually, think I probably sang the first time in Preston Baptist Church, just going with her.
Yeah.
Just got up and sang, and then later on I sang at Tallett's Chapel. That's when I really started getting into singing. It was one Easter I got up and sang Because He Lives, and was just off to the races in country and gospel.
So you've grown up, you and I come from the same era, and a lot of my audience does too. But there's a lot of legends, the real true legends of country music, and you. And that's why I asked if you're an old soul, because you are continuing to carry that forward.
I'm trying.
You are trying, and you're doing a fantastic job. Tell us about your latest album.
Well, my latest record is actually a standards record from, it was songs that had been recorded previously by Billie Holiday on her album Lady in Satin. And so not only do I love country music, I grew up listening to big band. My grandmother loved it. So I loved the songs from the Great American Songbook and have always wanted to do that music. Now, throughout the years, I've played those songs in my shows, but hadn't had much of an opportunity to record. So I worked with one of the finest arrangers really that ever lived. His name is Sammy Nestico. His contribution to music and music education is huge. He basically wrote all the music that the high school bands play to and have for years. He was in the Kennedy and Johnson. He was the music leader at the Kennedy Johnson administration, and then he was Count Basie's music director. Wrote arrangements for Frank Sinatra, Sarah Vaughan, all these greats. Just an incredible musician. He was 95 years old, and of course we met when he was toward the end of his life, and the producer asked him if he would be able to write some arrangements for me, and he said, "Oh my goodness, I'm so old." And he said, "You should have called me a couple of years ago. I'm having problems with my eyes and I'm just so old." And he said, "I tell you what, let me try one and see what happens." So one turned into two, two turned into five, and the next thing you know, I'm getting these videos of this 95-year-old man in his element, just having the best time. He's got on a baseball cap and he's at the studio and he's, doing all this. It's intense work, but it's like he forgot about all of his ailments, his age, all of his problems, because he was doing something he really truly loved. And that was such a wonderful thing to be able to do that with him,
Right.
and to be able to create this beautiful album with a 60-piece orchestra. He wrote all the arrangements, and it's been my most successful album to date, which is funny since I'm known mostly for country, but I had a #1 jazz album.
Congratulations on that. How fantastic is that? But Mandy, we grew up in that era of, my parents listened to the big bands and to the
Right.
jazz and to the Dean Martins, Frank Sinatras, and the Perry Comos and all of them. And then
And
we
Hee Haw.
grew- and Hee Haw. That's right,
Yeah.
and Hee Haw. And we had the best time.
Yeah.
That was the music that we listened to.
Right.
And
Or our
all of
parents,
those greats, the Patsy Cline.
Yeah.
And that has been a big step for you
Oh,
as well.
absolutely.
Tell us about Patsy Cline, because you have run how many shows for the
Well,
Patsy Cline?
Several hundred at the Ryman. And we've done 6 different runs through a 20-year period at the Ryman Auditorium, from 1994 to 2011. But right shortly after moving to Nashville, I auditioned for it was to be a brand new musical. It was a new genre of musicals called jukebox musicals. So I didn't know anything about it. I had no idea what the audition was for. Someone called me like 6 a.m. and said, "You should show up for this audition. There's going to be something to do with Patsy Cline and you should do it." I'm like, "Okay." what? No, what is it? He's like, I don't know, but it's something at Opryland, and here's the phone number. Call them and see what it is. So I said, okay, and actually went back to sleep for a couple of hours because it was first thing in the morning, and so when I started to stir, I called my mother and asked her about it. And she said, well, let's call them up and see what it's all about. And so I called up. It turned out to be the Grand Ole Opry. And I asked them what I needed to bring. They said I needed like an 8x10 glossy and music and a resume and all that stuff. And of course I didn't have any of it. When I showed up to the Grand Ole Opry, there were 450 women there, all dressed up as Patsy Cline in wigs and cowgirl outfits and cocktail dresses, and
Right.
I was just in a plain old, I don't know, like a sack dress kind of. It had no waistline or anything, no makeup. Anyway, they put me 109 in line, and as the day progressed, I was the last person standing, and a couple of weeks later they told me I had the part, and it was absolutely life-changing. Yeah, it really was. It was the first thing in the Ryman Auditorium after it had been shut down for years, and we did a 6-month run. And I was 18 years old, and I mean, it was intensity right out of the gate. I got the part within just a few weeks. I'm in the rehearsals, and I had always loved Patsy Cline, so I already knew the songs.
Right.
But it was an intense rehearsal schedule, 2 or 3 weeks going at it hard. I was on Good Morning America, the Today Show, all the morning shows, and it was just really strange, kind of going from nothing to that kind of intense. I mean, from high school
and going back to sleep after the phone call.
Right.
Wow, that is absolutely an amazing story of how that started. And I want you to hang on because we've got more with Miss Mandy Barnett when we come back. So y'all hold on. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the IAM Power Hour with me, Terry J. Walker, and I'm here with my very, very special guest, Miss Mandy Barnett. And Mandy, the tagline to the IAM Power Hour is the courage to rise and thrive. There are a lot of people out there that are continuing to put off their dreams, their passion. They're waiting till later. Or they have a lot of fear of I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I can't because maybe later I will.
Right.
Mandy, you are one of those people who found your voice at an early age, and you continue to progress, to practice, to learn. Where did that come from?
I guess it started from my mother, and of course I didn't start out that way. She pushed me in a gentle way to practice because I enjoyed singing and I wanted to do it.
Right.
But she encouraged me to go into my bedroom and practice for an hour so that I would be good, because she wanted me to be ready and prepared for the opportunities that came along. So that's, I think, being around people with an incredible work ethic, because that's, I think, more than anything, just being around such pros, that's molded me to want to do better, people that are better than you, people that inspire you, to want to be like them, to do like them. Why can't I, so I think it's about, a lot of it is about preparation.
The practice, the work ethic, and putting it in there.
Put the time in there, because you can't expect for things to happen for you if you don't want to be disciplined.
Yes.
You know, those guitar players that you see out there just shredding, they've spent hours in the bedroom just practicing over and over again. That's why they look so cool, because and effortless.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And it takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of practice to get to where you want to be.
Right.
But we've got to be willing to take those steps.
You do.
And fortunately for you, you had a great support system in
That's
helping
true.
you to do that.
And
But what would you
the
tell
difference
someone?
between being a child, you've got a mother and father, and you've got grandparents and more people around you. As an adult, you know that your support system can change, and so a lot of times you're having to get, you know, support from your friends or just your belief in yourself. And I think we all go through periods in life where we get a little bit down on ourselves, but you have to let that go. I mean, throughout the years, there have been times when it's been much harder. A few years ago, I was having a much harder time than I am right now. I think that things just ebb and flow, and you shouldn't get discouraged. The hard times don't last. The good times don't necessarily last too. You just have to enjoy it as it comes. So I don't know if I'm making sense.
Oh, you're making perfect sense.
Yeah.
And I want people, because you've achieved quite a successful career, and you have a large following. You have a lot going on a regular basis, and there are a lot of people out there who want to do things like that, but don't quite know how to take that step.
Right. Yeah.
And sometimes we don't always have that right person there with us to help motivate us to do that. So when we have those ebbs and flows, and our confidence, you know, it kind of goes up and down as well. But when those things happen, Mandy, what are some things that maybe you do to help lift you back?
To help lift me up? Well, I try to exercise. I try to do things that I think that are beneficial to me. And you know, I remember the wise words of people that have been mentors to me that maybe aren't necessarily here now, but you know, I watched them live life and go through hard times and saw how they navigated these kinds of things. For me, I've had some heartaches and I've had some difficult times, and I've done things, you know, the hard way. It's not always been glamorous, but I'm very, very grateful for those times as well as the good times, like Grand Ole Opry inductions and Tennessee Pathway Marker things and stuff like that.
That's when you have the feeling of, I've arrived. All my work has paid off.
I don't know if I believe in arriving. I think you're always kind of becoming and doing stuff, but it is nice to get some validation.
Yes, and that's something we all need.
Yeah, we all need it, and even in increments, or if it's not, you know, some big grand gesture, because I went years really without any proclamations or big, you know, awards or anything like that. So, but I've done it because I love it too. That's what motivates me. I think if you love something, then it's important to give it a shot and believe in yourself. Get good at it, practice, you know, all those kinds of things.
Tell me about how we can help other people to have the courage to rise and thrive and overcome some of that fear-based thinking, that passion that we all have. We all have unique skills and abilities. We all have something greater than ourselves within us. But many of us are afraid. Many of us are afraid to go after that. We're afraid of what other people might think. We're afraid of we might fail. We may be even afraid that we might succeed in essence. So what has helped you that you can help my audience to understand of how to overcome some of this and to continue to follow our passion?
It's part of it. I accept that failure is part of it, and that hard times are part of it. And I think accepting that, for me, I can keep moving forward and know this too shall pass, and something better will come along, or or I'll feel better about this particular thing, if I put forth the effort.
Yeah.
So I think for me, I try to do what I can as far as like minding the store mentally, physically, and not let myself get too dark if I can help it.
Yeah.
But I'm an artist, and so I get insecure. I get unsure about if what I'm doing, whether it's going to be received well or successful. It's part of the process. So you have to accept that to get the good part. But it's all good. It's all good.
We have to learn to enjoy the journey, right?
You do have to learn to enjoy the journey, because the destination, when I think about, I'm thrilled to be a member of the Grand Ole Opry, but when I think about that, I think about the 27 years getting there. There's all those things, the beginning, and all the people I met along the way that helped me, believed in me, and sometimes it's good to have people that will challenge you. If you have a good friend in your life that won't allow you to goof off and will kind of tell you like it is, and just say, hey, you might ought to quit that. They care enough to tell you.
Yeah.
And that's not always the case. Sometimes people are just busybodies, but
Yeah, right. Oh, I know about
in that case, mind your business.
Mind your business.
But in many times I've had people in the past that cared so much about me. When they saw me walking down the wrong path, they would say, hey,
Yes.
you might ought to turn that back around. And of course, being me, it was met with resistance and what do you know? But I would sit and think about it. Maybe they're right. And so I think just surrounding yourself with good people when you can. And you have to, if you want to get something done, you have to believe in yourself to a certain degree. So whatever that takes, if it's getting in your bedroom every night and practicing, or for me it was karaoke. When I was a kid, I didn't have a band, and so there was only really one way for me to get good at singing, and that was my mother bought me a karaoke machine. And
You gotta start somewhere.
Yeah.
Those are the best ways to do it.
she was so smart to think of that,
Right.
because that was actually a sort of a new concept, especially in Crossville, Tennessee. They weren't easy to come by. Back in
Probably had to go to
1984.
Nashville or something to get it.
I think she went to Nashville.
Yeah.
She ran into some woman at a flea market in Lebanon who we're still friends to this day, who sold soundtracks. That's what they called them back then. So they were karaoke soundtracks, cassettes.
Yeah.
And I think she was able to help her acquire one. It was called a singing machine. And it would lower the pitch, it would raise the pitch, so that if you wanted to change keys, you could do it by a half a step on each end. But a great way to practice.
Wow.
Great way to sing songs that you would never be able to sing with an orchestra or whatever. And the tracks were all good quality tracks, and so that I had a great advantage because of that.
And that has made you what you are today. My grandfather helped to raise me, and he used to tell me when I was a kid, Terry, if you always go right, you'll never go wrong. And listening to that intuitive self, that drive, that passion, that spirit, and continuing to follow those things that drive you, that love that you have within you. And you have made great use of that. And today, you're traveling around the world, and you have traveled around the world, but today you're actually back in your hometown, one of the first times since becoming one of the newest members of the Grand Ole Opry. And that is a very special treat for all of us local yokels back here to get to see you here at the Cumberland County Playhouse, which is somewhere where you started too. This was some of the beginning roots for you as well. And we're going to be talking more about the Cumberland County Playhouse in another show. But today, you're doing a concert this evening. We're going to be here on the spot to be able to see you actually go out on stage, and some of all of the people who have actually been a support to you and helped to lift you up to where you are today are coming tonight. You've got a huge crowd awaiting you this evening.
That's what I heard, and I'm so excited, and it's just a thrill to be here. And I love Crossville, and I love the Playhouse. They've always supported me, and I mean, when I started doing my first concerts when I was 18 years old, they were the first venue to have me on my own. I'd been doing Always Patsy Cline, but this was a whole other deal to go and perform as me with a band and choose the material. So they were very instrumental in helping me get over that fear. Because believe me, I had fear. I was very fearful about that.
Yeah.
It was easy to hide behind this legend that everyone loved at, one of the greatest venues in the world. And I had to step outside of her without the wig and the costume, and not only sing some of her music, but sing new material and other songs, different genres, that kind of thing. So for me, I think trying to find an opportunity or a venue that is loving, that was such a big step for me, to have that support and validation from them, because from there I went back to Nashville, and when they said I started playing Cafe Milano, Chet Atkins had been playing every Monday, and he was starting to have, I think, maybe some health problems, and I was able to slide into that Monday night slot because of doing shows here at the Playhouse. I had that experience. And having that experience made me less fearful.
Less fearful.
Yes, experience makes you less fearful. But that's the rub. You have to get the experience behind you. But that's also the exciting part too.
That's how we grow, and that's how we learn.
It is.
Is it not? You now have your own company as well, right? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, Dane Productions is a production company that my manager and attorney, Suzanne Kessler, we started several years ago. We did the records with Cracker Barrel, Winter Wonderland, the Don Gibson Project, I Can't Stop Loving You, the songs of Don Gibson. Both of those were in Cracker Barrel. And then we did a third project with 30 Tigers. I did an Americana album that was really a lot of fun to make a few years ago. And so we've done 3 projects, and we're hoping to do more, but like we work with other people as well, so it's not all exclusively through my company.
So you're growing, you're expanding, and all of those good things. If someone wanted to find out more about Mandy Barnett or get your albums or any of that kind of stuff, where would they go to find that?
Well, MandyBarnett.com is a good place to start. You can find me on all social media platforms, Mandy Barnett Music, Instagram, on Twitter, Facebook. I think Spotify, Apple Music, all the places that sell and stream music.
You're there?
I think all my albums are on there. So yeah, I'm pretty easy to find.
Pretty easy to find.
Yeah.
That's mandybarnett.com. That's a great place to start, and all of the social media as well. Mandy, I am so looking forward to hearing your beautiful voice tonight.
Thank you.
But in the process of that, I want to thank you today, and I want to thank the Cumberland County Playhouse for allowing us to meet today on their property, but also I want to thank you today for coming and giving the IAM Power Hour and my beautiful audience a chance to get to know you, a chance to see how we can all have a story to tell and a song to sing. And Mandy Barnett, you are the epitome of a beautiful song to sing. And I want to thank you today for being here with us on the IAM Power Hour.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right. Now, y'all want to watch our next show because you don't want to miss it either. So y'all come back now. You hear? Miss Mandy Barnett. It's almost showtime, and so we got a little bit of a backstage stuff going on, and we're going to get Mandy coming out on stage here in just a little bit, but I just wanted to say hi, and I am so excited about what is to come and to be able to see her show tonight as she plays here at the wonderful Cumberland County Playhouse. We'll see you in just a few minutes. It's almost showtime back here on the mountain, and Mandy's getting back to her roots. So am I. And so, welcome to the IAM Power Hour. Thank you so very much, Mandy. It's almost showtime.
It is.
There's a lot of people out there that love you, and they're waiting to hear your beautiful voice.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing them. Yeah, we're sold out.
We're sold out.
Yeah.
I thank you so much. It's been a great day today. We're going to follow you out on stage and see what happens.
That sounds
Have
good.
a wonderful show tonight, and I can't wait to hear your beautiful voice. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Listen to me. We are so pleased to have this wonderful lady grace our stage again. She's one of the newest members of the Grand Ole Opry, and Crossville is so proud of her. And I want you all to give the biggest hello to Miss Mandy Barnett.
So good to see y'all. So good to be back here at the Playhouse. I'm going to do some Patsy Cline tunes for you, some classic country, a little bit of pop, a little bit of gospel, a little bit of everything that made me me. In fact, this show is called Roots and Wings. But back to Patsy Cline. You know, me and that gal, we have a thing. She was such a big inspiration, big influence on me. My mother bought the tape. It was a greatest hits tape at Kmart Blue Light Special. And you know, at the time, I'm sure she had no idea how that would change my life. But when she played that cassette, I just fell in love with her voice and the music, and I realized, well, that's the kind of music I want to make. I want to sing beautiful, beautiful ballads with a great band. And she beat me.
It's been a great day. It's been a great show. And we are going to have a great time. We're heading out to our seats. I'll see you next time on the IAM Power Hour. Y'all come back now. Here.